Hey Aquarius, what's going on? We're here with a timeless reading for you. Welcome. The first card that we have out is Nine of Pentacles, and I'm seeing Two of Wands on the bottom of the deck. I see Nine of Pentacles as being a card that's associated with a state of mind where no matter what type of circumstance you're in, knowing that you sort of have what you need to be able to figure it out. You have experience that you can apply to this, that you'll just turn things into a situation that's gonna be working out for you. Having Seven of Wands here is feeling like needing to protect yourself, being in a space that you're in. So Nine of Pentacles represents independence, it represents abundance, it represents that state of mind where you're like, no matter what it is, I'm capable of figuring it out. Even if I don't like have the information that I need, I'll find it somewhere, or like the advice that I need, or the mechanics of how to do this. You know, it's not that you necessarily have to have everything, but it's that you'll be able to like have access to those things that you need, because it's a Nine of Pentacles. It's like, it's that card of abundance where whatever you need, it will either like come in, or you already have it, or whatever. Like, you won't go without what you need. I see Nine of Pentacles as sort of being the opposite to Five of Pentacles, where Five of Pentacles can be like, I can't even work in this situation, you know, I feel hopeless. Nine of Pentacles is like feeling filled with hope. So that's why I see it also being connected to a mindset that you're in. Because, you know, you can have two people in the same exact situation, and one of them is like being really just, I'm gonna figure it out, whatever it is. And then you have another person that's like, this isn't gonna work no matter what I do. And you'll see one person succeed out of this situation, and another person that may stay in some type of squalor, you know, whatever the case may be. That's just an example of how this can play out. So having Seven of Wands here feels like when you're in this state where you're like, I can do it, or I'm not gonna be going without whatever I need. Seven of Wands is feeling like needing to protect yourself when you're in that space. This also means too that you'll have the means to nurture what you want to nurture, that you'll be provided for, and also too that you can trust yourself to do things as well, that you don't need to look around and be like, I need help from you, I need help from you. You know, sometimes yes, but for the most part being like, okay, I got this. So it's being able to rely on yourself, being able to trust yourself. It looks like there's some stress, sort of. So I'm seeing you be here, and I'm seeing there be this like protective bubble around you. Ten of Wands is feeling like all the pressure, obligations, stress, like all of the things that have to be done, feels like it's sort of like encircling you a little bit here. It feels though like no matter what, needing to protect this part of yourself, it feels more of like a frequency that you're protecting within yourself. Like, I'm not necessarily seeing this be a material thing, but it's more so, again, like a state of mind that you need to be in order to effectively sort of work with this situation that you're in right now. Ten of Wands is stuff that could be taking on extra things that you don't need to be taking on right now. This is feeling like a time when there can be a lot going on, and a lot that even just that baseline of this time of the day right now that you're in, you have a lot to do. You need to stay organized, you need to stay balanced, and do not take anything on if it is going to tilt the balance of things. So this means like if you have somebody coming through being like, will you put this on your plate too? You need to know whether you can or not. Like, you have to be in a space where you're like, I don't want to be biting off more than I can chew here. And it's really important for you to do that, because it's going to keep you in a space where if if you're in the right mentality, no matter what you have going on, you're going to be able to handle it. But also part of that balance is knowing like where your limitation is, like what you can confidently take on, and also what's going to feel like too much, and also with what you already have going on, to not overload your plate here to the point where you're like losing sort of faith in yourself. Some of you have some past stuff that's coming up, and it may be like attempting to mix with your current things right now. This stuff that you're going through right now, all of the stuff that you have going on, I'm seeing you definitely be capable of working with this. It's not too much. Energetically speaking, just from that standpoint, is where I'm making this assessment from. Staying organized is really important here. So this means like do not leave everything until the last minute, or like let everything pile up. You want to be prioritizing things, putting them in the right categories that they need to be put in, and then doing it, and not expecting yourself to be like a machine with this stuff that you have going on in your life. Wands are connected with having in the middle here 7 of Wands and 10 of Wands. This is stuff that takes a lot of energy, because your wands are like it's not just your willpower, but it's also like your life force, and you only have so much of it, you know, before your body needs to go back to sleep again, or you need to take some type of rest. And there's also like you're in a limited environment right now in 3D, you know, where you have the constraints of time as well. And so there's the notion of like resting and then being up and doing things. It feels like this message is just coming through again and again. You do have a lot on your plate, yes, but if you keep things organized, it is not going to be too much. There's like a right way to do this, and there's a not so effective way to do this, and I feel like that's coming to light. And if you want to stay in the frame of mind where you're like, I'm able to actually do the stuff that needs to be done, you also need to work with the part of yourself that has like a limited capacity for dealing with certain things right now. When I say limited capacity, I mean like being here on Earth, you know? So that's the type of limited capacity I mean. So yeah, don't take on more than you need to take on, and if you already have a lot going on your plate, if there are other things coming through that could potentially like be added on, you may need to say no or not right now about some things. But if you're on top of this, it's not going to, even though it can be a lot to work with, like a lot of your energy that's needed here, it's not anything that you won't be able to work with, even though it can feel high intensity. I think too, just a willingness to work at a time where the way that this 10 of Wands is coming through is feeling like you're at work and you have like 20 different tasks given to you, and needing to sort of like make a game plan or get things organized before tackling those things, and sort of stick to the game plan that you have. And that's just, it can be used in any type of setting. This can be in like an interpersonal way, you know, with like your life stuff, or it can be with your bills, or it can be with needing to do this or needing to do that, errands that you need to run, like whatever this is that you have going on right now, where it's just gonna feel like a busier time. That's what 10 of Wands is feeling like, busy, like you have a lot of stuff that you're doing. But having strength here is about focusing on like which of those things are easier for you, which of those things are more difficult, and organizing things in a way where you're recognizing, you know, like how do I function best within a busy type of environment, these busy things that I have going on here, where there's just a lot of stuff that's happening. I feel like strength is about catering to your personal way of how you deal with these things. So rather than this being some type of generic, like, how do I work through this? This is like, how do I work best, and what things are going to be easier? You know, if you have certain things that you need to do, and some of them are more difficult and some of them are easier, sometimes it's better to like mix the two of those rather than being like, I'm gonna leave all of the hard things that I have to do until Friday, and then you have like no energy to be able to do the whole thing. You can find that it's better if you sort of space things out so you're not burning yourself out with the stuff that you have going on. And this can be, wands is like anything that takes any amount of energy and willingness and like a presence for you to be there participating in something. It can be like having to make that phone call, or having to write that email, or having to like pick somebody up from soccer practice, you know, whatever this is that you have going on within your life. Doing things in a way where you're remembering too that you also have certain limitations, like the human limitations of things, and that you're not a robot, you know? Like maybe on Thursdays you feel like you get more done than on Mondays, so it's like maybe do a little plan for doing a little bit less on Monday and a little bit more on Thursday, you know? Whatever this is that you need to do for yourself to keep things stabilized. I do see this as being like really task oriented for you currently. It can even have to do with like a single project, you know? Like you could be doing something where you're going through like a move right now and you have to unpack things. Like that's another way that I'm seeing this energy. And it's like, rather than being like, I'm just gonna do everything and have these unrealistic expectations of yourself, strength is about knowing your strengths, yes, but also to where things are more difficult for you. And just knowing that for yourself, not to judge it, but to be able to like accurately plan things out and figure things out. Like how do you work best and when is it more challenging for you? I'm seeing it wanting to come out, but it's not coming out, but I'm seeing it sort of be in that balance. Make sure that you are not overstressing yourself. Do not be taking on more than you already need to at this time, because it's a time that's very, very busy for you energetically, is what I'm seeing. So do not be overworking yourself. Do not be stressing yourself out. And keep in mind too that there can be a part of you that's like, oh, this is just too much, and then you're going to do something that's going to make more work for yourself. Do not make more work for yourself. So keep in mind sort of where your mentality is, especially in response to when things get heavier or more hectic or there's more pressure. Keep in mind sort of where you are, like gauge where you are mentally with these things and what your thoughts will be promoting at that point in time as well. Eight of Swords and Strength is feeling stuck about something, but it's more about yourself than anything. I'm seeing strength in this setting as being like your ability to effectively move through this situation. Eight of Swords is feeling like something is going on mentally where you could be feeling a little bit stuck with things, like you could be shutting down a little bit, cutting yourself off from a part of yourself. So this can be something here that you're doing that's not feeling empowering to you, but this can be like on a spiritual level actually for you. Like, are you talking down to yourself in some way, or telling yourself that you can't do something? Make sure that whatever you're doing, that you are recognizing like the spiritual and energetic impact that it's going to have on you and your ability to, it seems like, perform in this situation, actually, what this is that you have going on. Because I'm seeing the cosmic seed come out here, and this is about like the cosmic nature of things and the divinity and like the spiritual essence and whatnot, and having strength be attached to it, it feels like being able to pull from something deeper and infuse your energy with that. And it seems to like when things are stable, it's allowing you to function properly, and that's what it seems like this is for you to like know how to naturally, you know, like when you're on the surfboard, to be able to stabilize it so you're not falling off of there, energetically speaking. And it feels too like there may be some stuff that you're doing right now, and for some reason it feels like this can be a time where there are energies that can be coming through that would potentially like knock you off what it is that you're doing. Eight of Pentacles is feeling like the life work that I have been doing right now at this moment. Seven of Wands is feeling like needing to protect that for some reason, and needing to keep moving with the motion of things. But this can also be like protection from your own like self-destructive tendencies, you know, and it doesn't need to be deliberate. It can be sort of like something's going on with my mental health today, and if I don't check that, it's something that's going to undo the work that I've been doing. So just be mindful sort of where you are working on all levels. And also see too if you may be limiting yourself with something. Like Nine of Pentacles, if I would just see this coming out, I'd see your energy as like, I got this, I'm capable, I can like really do this by myself, I'm efficient, like can be left to work alone and will do the job, you know? But Nine of Swords is sort of getting in your own way mentally and then cutting yourself off from the part of yourself that knows actually what to do and is very capable of moving through this. And the same thing with strength too. It feels like it's sort of somehow connected with this part of yourself that's actually very able to show up and willing to show up. But there can be something going on here mentally where you get into a space. It's like this. I'm seeing just energetically this sort of thing go on. If you were, say you're like sitting at your chair, right? And you're given one assignment and you're like, okay, like take the assignment, do the thing, like no problem. And then when you're done, you're given the next assignment and you're like, okay, you take it on and you get it done and there's no problem with it. And then you're given the next assignment and you're like, okay, you take it on and you get it done. And then you're ready for the next thing. When you're in that type of environment, it's like you have no problem doing the stuff that needs to be done. But it's like when you're given like all four of those assignments at the same time, being like so frazzled by it. And it's like, it's just a matter of perception. Then at that point, that's what I'm actually seeing here be like the underworking mechanics of this behind what's going on. Because I'm seeing it be like, if you were like, you just need to self-organize all of this stuff. So you can, even if you need to make it seem in your mind like nothing else exists except for that one thing in front of you until you finish it, and then you can take on the next thing. You may have to do some type of like self-organization here, like an organizing principle, something like that. As I said before, it's like if you were getting things, if you got one assignment in front of you and were able to do it like start to finish before something else came through, you would see that you would flawlessly like be able to do all of those things, and there wouldn't be that element of you getting in your head about it. But it's almost like when you know that you have something else in the queue that's like waiting for you, it's almost like not being able to be present on the task at hand that you have in front of you. So if you're able to somehow like make some type of boundary for you to be present with what you're doing in a given moment, rather than being like, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do that. Because you know, if you're in that setting where it's like, as soon as you're done with this thing, the next thing comes in, it's still the same thing that's going on. You know, like you're still performing the same things. It's just a matter of perception of like one thing at a time versus I'm trying to do one thing, but I have all of those other things on my mind, and you're not being present to what you're doing. And that's where you start getting overwhelmed. So you need to do something that's going to organize this for you. Because it's not that you're not capable of doing the things, it's that you're overwhelming yourself here with this, being like, and now I have to get all of these things done. And it's like, no matter what you have going on, you're always doing things like one thing at a time. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like it's just working with that part of yourself that has a tendency to, when you have a lot to do, like start shutting down then because of that. And that's also part of strength. That can also be knowing that about yourself, you know, like instead of having this pile of tasks right next to me while I'm trying to do this thing, like move that all the way out of sight until you're done with this thing, and then check the list and see what's next, you know? It just feels like you don't have necessarily like a moderator here being like, okay, you're done with that, now do this thing. Like you have to also be the moderator. I hope that that's translating correctly. Like what I'm saying is that it's not that you can't do, like if you have a whole list of tasks and you're given to them consecutively, you have no problem doing them. It's just when you're not given them in a way that you see as being like organized consecutively, that's where you're getting stressed out. So it's not that you can't do the thing. It's about needing to organize and that actually being what's needed here. You know what I'm saying? You take things one step at a time. That's really it. That's the gist of things. All the tasks, you're well qualified to be doing these things. You just need to organize them. That's all. And also too, remember that the universe is working with you as well. I'm seeing like spirit come over here and sort of like nudge you a little bit with this to like get out of your head, get out of your own way, and to recognize too that like when you sort of walk yourself into this frame of mind, you can also like walk yourself back out of it too. So remembering that as well. It's sort of like you walk yourself into this prison of your mind, and then you're like, oh no, I'm in this prison of my mind, and you just shut down at that moment. But it's like, just as much as you got yourself in there, you know, you can do a little reverse over here and step back out of it. It's like playing that game with yourself. So recognize you are qualified to be doing all of these things. You just need to stay organized and not focus on what's directly in front of you rather than in the back of your mind. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, because it seems like you're just not able to function in that way in this setting, okay? And this feels like it's also somehow like protecting like the sanctity or like integrity of what you have going on, of what you're working on and stuff. And it feels like to get you to work like most efficiently in any area of your life. It's your functioning mechanism, it seems. And to keep you stable as well, and to keep your efforts kind of like harmonized here. Okay? Be that moderator for yourself. That's all that you need to, it's like the additional role that you need to step into here for yourself. Organizing principle. All right, everybody, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.